Hey Busy Bees! I can't believe September is here. September is a really special month for me. Exactly 3 years ago today, September 4th, my husband proposed to me after 6 years of dating. But who's counting? And then 2 years ago on September 6th, we got married. And then every year for the past, I'm not gonna tell you, something years, it's my birthday on September 7th. So I have a lot to celebrate in September. So kicking off the celebration, I'm gonna show you guys how to make this delicious chocolate chip cookie layer cake. It's not your typical cake, it's rustic, and I made it look kind of like my wedding cake. So let's get started. First, I'm gonna start with 1 cup of white sugar, 1½ cups of brown sugar, and then 1½ cups of melted butter. I'll give it a good mix until everything's combined. And then I'll add in 2 egg yolks. Mix, mix, mix. And then I'll add in 2 eggs, one at a time, mixing after each addition until it's thoroughly combined. Perfect, the egg's gonna thicken up the batter a little bit. Now I'll add in 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1½ teaspoons of kosher salt. I'll give it a good mix, and then I'm adding in 3 3/4 cups of flour. And then 3 cups of chocolate chips, because we want a lot of chocolate chips. Because we like a lot of chocolate chips. The batter looks perfect. Cookie batter is done. Now I'm gonna work on preparing my cake pans. Okay, I'm gonna cut a piece of parchment paper wide enough to cover the diameter of the pan. Then I'm gonna fold the parchment paper over once, and then again with the seam at the bottom, fold it over one more time, making sure the seam is still intact at the bottom. Fold it into a wedge. I'll place the parchment paper with the point in the center, and then I'll measure out my radius. Snip, snip, and then ta-da! It's a perfect fit. No need to buy those fancy parchment paper rounds. It's so easy to DIY it, right? Snug like a bug in a rug. You'll never have to buy these things again. Now I'll take 1/4 of my batter and just flatten it down into the baking pan. I want it just about 1/3 of the way full. Do this to all of your pans depending on how many layers you want. I'm making only 3 layers. I'll bake my cake layers for 25 minutes at 325 degrees, or until it's golden brown and perfect like this. I'll let my cookie cake layers cool completely while I work on my buttercream. I'm only making a 3-layer mini cake here, but this recipe can make a 4-layer 8-inch cake. In a large bowl, I'm gonna add in 1 cup of butter at room temperature. Make sure you're using unsalted butter here. I'm gonna whip it up just to make it nice and fluffy. Then I'm gonna add in 4 cups of powdered sugar, a pinch of salt, 1/4 cup of milk, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'll whip it all together until the buttercream is nice and fluffy. Like this. Perfect. Now, using my piping bag with the star tip, I'm just gonna cut the tip of the bag, put the tip in, and then I'll place it in a cup. The cup helps to hold up the piping bag while I fill it. Now we're ready to frost. Once my cookies are completely cooled, I'm gonna remove it from the pan. Ta-da! Ooh, look how pretty it is. It's nice and firm. It's a big, giant cookie. Now I'm gonna place it onto my cake stand, and then I'll pipe on a nice and thick layer of buttercream on top. I'm piping on an extra layer of buttercream on the edges because I want it to spill out when I layer them. Like this. Pipe, pipe, pipe another 2 layers. I'm only doing 1 layer in the center. My last layer of cookie cake. Beautiful. And then a little bit more buttercream on top. Using my offset spatula, I'm just gonna spread it evenly throughout. It doesn't have to be perfect here, you guys. Now for the fun part. I love rustic naked cakes that you see at weddings or baby showers. They're just so pretty. To decorate the cake, all you need is some flowers and foliage. I'll take a few olive twigs and I'll just place them at the bottom of my plate and then one on top of the cake. Add a few flower buds and blooms on top and then some on the side too. It's really pretty when it sticks out, like this. Nice and rustic. For the foliage, I'm using an olive twig here, but you can also use eucalyptus, seeded eucalyptus, which is really pretty, or just take a walk around your neighborhood and find some leaves that inspire you. For the flowers, here I'm using a pink lisianthus. I use this also in my wedding bouquet and all the centerpieces, along with dahlias, peonies, English roses. Any of those go for your cake. Yay! Okay, now it's cutting time. Ooh, look at those layers. Those soft cookie layers are so good. This cake in itself is enough reason to celebrate. Let's give it a try. And another bite. The buttercream is not too sweet and the cake is just perfectly cakey yet cookie-like at the same time. It's so good. This is a really big indulgence here, so I hope you guys like this recipe. Happy September, and let me know if you have anything to celebrate this month too. As a quick reminder, you guys, I've switched my release dates to Sunday now, so if you want to watch new episodes, be sure to subscribe below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Bye!